From the heart of Big Ten country, Los Angeles, California, Ryan Abraham and David Woods present the Podcast of Champions.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, you cued me. Well, welcome, everyone, back to the Podcast of Champions. I'm David Woods from Bruin Report Online, the UCLA site on the 24/7 Sports Network.
And I'm Ryan Abraham from USCFootball.com, the USC site on the 24/7 Sports Network. And together we make the Podcast of Champions, talking all things Big Ten football. We are here in Las Vegas at the beautiful Mandalay Bay Resort Casino, just finishing up Big Ten Media Days. Yeah, it's over. Day 3. I know David just came in and hit it quick. I was here on Tuesday a little bit, and a lot of stuff. 18 different teams, a lot of coaches, a lot of players that we were able to hear some stuff from, and wanted to kind of give you a report of what we had heard and seen around here in Las Vegas. It's a little different setup. This is my kind of remote setup. Hopefully, it's working okay for everybody. We are live on
So
YouTube.
I need to let everyone know. Am I looking there?
Yeah, you're looking there.
Okay. I need to let everyone know. Ryan's mobile setup has severe amplification in the cans, as they say, so I can hear everything. But what most stands out is that when Ryan talks, I hear every contour of his voice. It's like ASMR.
Yeah,
It's just soothing,
lucky you.
like bizarro Seinfeld voice in my ears. It's magical.
I love it. Well, hopefully it's enjoyable for you.
Are you enjoying the reverse on
I
your
am.
side?
I can hear your dulcet tones very
Wow.
well.
Ooh.
Yeah, like everything. We are live on YouTube. If you want to let me try if you guys get some comments going. Do we got? Yeah, we got people live in here. Watch. Yeah, we got some people watching. Great. But
We gave them 4 minutes of notice.
yeah, we
Hey,
meaning
listen, man. I actually had to work today, and
he doesn't
those
like
of you
that.
who follow the show, you know how much I don't like that.
Yeah, we did. There was a lot of work today. Like this little setup. Thanks to the Big Ten for setting up. They gave me the setup here on Radio Row, which is empty except for us, and we got ESPN Radio here in Las Vegas next to us. But that's it right now. So we're the only ones left here. But we got to do a bunch of interviews, at least from my setup. And I know David, USC and UCLA both went today. We had Lincoln Riley come here and sit at this desk, and the USC players that were here, Elijah Page and Mekhi Lemon. So it was cool to kind of set them up here. We had USC's chief of staff, Jay Hilbrands, come sit down, and had Gary Danielson from CBS on yesterday. So we had
Yeah.
a lot of people come through the interview. We thought that, well, hey, I got this thing set up. Why don't we do a podcast of champions from here? So I had to put the graphics, all this stuff. I haven't really had anything going, so we put the graphics and everything together and just put them out, and you can hear like snacks being dumped on the
Yeah.
table, which is nice.
We've got snacks.
Well, the
You
snacks,
want me to
but
take a look? See what we got?
no, that's okay. Connor's gonna eat
Should we
them
have
all.
an unboxing where I just show a snack
Yeah,
for the people? Yeah.
that's good. But yeah, hopefully people go, oh, look, we got people in the chat. Nice. But yeah, we want to just kind of give you like an update of what's going on from here. So first comment from Warren, where's the beard?
I know.
Where is the
I
beard?
Shaved it. I wanted to see what this thing looked like underneath.
Yeah, Brian. Oh my God. So it doesn't matter what we're talking about. All we're going to hear about is beard. Without a beard, get a little excited if you know what I mean. Bob says he enjoys enjoying the simulcast, which David doesn't like to call it that.
It's not that I don't like to, it's that that's not what it is.
El Toro, David, you look like a different man without your beard.
I know.
Looks great.
I know I do.
Or good. This is a lot smaller. Like reading like the text on this on my laptop, everything that's going on. It's pretty janky set up, and I use this for everyone. Even right, like I have my iPad here on it with a camera pointing at David and the webcam pointing at me. But we get it. We make it work, and it's cool. I even got some. If you want,
We look like we're in two different rooms.
we are, and we're just literally right across from each other. But I'll show you some of the photos that I took, and Chris took some of these just from around Big Ten Media Days. But it was, one of the comments I got, it was actually Steven from ESPN Radio next to me, and some of the other people saying it doesn't feel like we're in Vegas. Like we are so far away from like the casino where we're walking to. It's like you got to go 2 escalators, and it's a little nutty like how to get here. it doesn't feel Vegasy at all. You know,
No.
we could be in Lincoln, Nebraska, like you wouldn't
No,
know.
it 100% feels like any number of Pac-12 media days that were in LA at some like random venue. Like it
Yeah,
just doesn't like it feels like a conference.
yeah,
Like and it is like a convention center, so it's fine.
yeah. So
I'm looking at you.
I know. I'm trying to get you to
I'm
look at the
talking to
camera.
you.
You look at the
Can
camera.
you stop being rude and saying I'm like I should look somewhere else?
Yes,
No, I'm looking at
it
you. I
looks
speak with
funny.
you.
It looks funny. I'm not looking at
I
you.
can't help that you set it up this way.
I all this work that
Why
I
didn't
put
you put that there? Then it would
because I
only.
need to see it,
Why do you
David.
need to see it?
Because I'm running the damn show. Like this is being
Yeah, but
for.
you don't have to do anything. You already told me that.
I do a lot of stuff. I'm
Yeah,
doing it
whatever.
all right now, like lining
Um.
different things up.
Anyway, we're in a convention center
Yeah.
attached to the Mandalay Bay. It's difficult to find. It's not interesting. There's no fun story here. I don't know why Ryan brought this up.
Well, just it doesn't feel like it's not too Vegasy. Comparing this to, neither of us went to Indianapolis last year, but you
They
know
found Indianapolis in Las Vegas. I guess that's the takeaway.
they're kind of doing something
Yeah.
here. But you know, we used to get Pac-12 swag, um, yeah, which was cool. Like we'd get some kind of like I have so many damn Pac-12 water bottles and things like that. Really didn't get much. There was like a charger, and that's about it. And the Pac-12 would give us stuff like that too. But yeah, it's a little bit different. Not I don't know than what we were used to. But like there wasn't really a big events or anything. Like in this hotel is I think it's called Swingers. The it's like a mini golf, like adult mini golf place. Could have had a huge event there or something like that. We did meet it with a lot of the 247 sports people, which was great. Um, you know, met them for dinner and drinks and stuff. So that was a lot of fun. David and I did some gambling. We had a good time with that.
Met a prostitute. Did not use her services.
No, yes, a couple.
We were polite though.
I was trying to get David to go to bed at 1:30 because I had to get up early for like a radio hit.
Yeah.
Our buddy's Dirt and Sprague up in Portland. I was doing that one.
Uh huh.
Um, and David didn't really want to go. And then it was the time when prostitutes sort of come out and try to solicit you. And then he was like, all right, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
So that helped. They helped me get you out of
They
there.
helped spur along what needed to happen.
Yeah. Okay. So it doesn't matter what we talk about because everyone's just going to talk about your beard. Looks like you said it looks 20 years younger. That's pretty cool.
So
Um,
here's the interesting thing, Ryan. I'm going to tell you some beard thoughts I've had for many years.
okay.
When I was a younger man, when my beard was not white, when it was in fact red and gold and
Mhm.
brown, I looked younger with a beard.
Ah,
Now, when my beard is white like fucking Santa Claus,
sorry,
uh,
Griffin.
sorry, Griffin, my
Yeah.
bad. It's obviously the difference, but like this isn't a young face. Like, look at this face. Take a second. Take it all in. That's not young. That's not young at all.
Mm.
But with the white beard, I look like I'm 62 or
Yeah,
your advanced age of 54.
I am 54 years old.
Yeah.
Yes. But no, looking good. Like half the comments are about that. Yeah, like so I have to go and start from Tuesday. And one of the things I noticed, David, across the board, you heard from Tony Petitti, who's the commissioner of the Big Ten, and of course the narrative that he was pushing was the need for automatic qualifiers, and the reason that would be for the new college football playoff, expanded playoff, having those play-in games where number two, one and two play for the Big Ten championship,
Yep.
and then in his mind, number three would play number six,
Correct.
and then number four would play number five, and the two winners of those games, which is another
Yeah.
couple games that you could put on one of their like a Fox or an NBC or CBS, one of their other partners, give you more inventory, a really exciting game, and that's really what Tony Petitti would like to see with those automatic qualifiers. And I think it was something like one of those talking points because it seemed like every single coach in the Big Ten brought that up and was very supportive of that. So that was kind of one of the early narratives. Is like the Big Ten is all in, even though none of the other conferences are part like want a part of this. The Big Ten and all the coaches were like, "Here's all the reasons why it makes sense to have automatic qualifiers and play in games." It was across the board. It seemed like everyone was agreeing with Tony Petitti's his plan.
Yeah, I don't. I think it's stupid, and I think all of them are just towing the company line.
Yeah,
The Tony Petitti sounds to me like a guy who actually doesn't like the sport and would like to make it more just an NFL light. Um, Going playing games, making even more of this insane race to make the playoff the only thing that matters in all of college football ever, um, and diluting further what the playoff is and what it's intended to do by, I mean, like touting 6-3 Big Ten teams that also lose a game in non-conference play should be in the playoff. Are you out of your mind? How is that a compelling argument for anyone? Like,
That that didn't go over
why
well.
does anyone like that?
Yeah,
And so, yeah, the coaches are going to say whatever. I mean, they're not going to disagree with the commissioner in this sort of thing. And frankly, I think, for a coach, from a coach perspective, it makes sense because it's easier to keep their jobs if they make playoff appearances. And 8-4 teams making playoff appearances means that a whole lot of people have been making playoff appearances. But for like, look, you out there, we people who are generally followers of the sport, we're the we're the people who have to like stand in the road and say no, this can't happen. Like it's not, the coaches aren't going to do it because they don't, it's better for them. Commissioners are actively trying to ruin the sport. So it's, we're the arbiters of what's good and what's bad, not we, but you out there. And you got to like, say this sucks. Like this is a bad idea. And the thing is, it's not going to stop. They're going to continue to do stupid things. But I think in the litany of bad ideas about the playoff and about all this kind of stuff, I think Tony Petitti might have the worst ones. Like I think he's got just some of the like world's shittiest ideas about all this stuff.
interesting. You know what was funny when you talk about towing the company line? We did have Gary Danielson on, and he was good. Former Purdue quarterback, NFL, all that stuff, and it's been broadcasting games for I think 36 years, and did the SEC for a long time. And we got to talk to him about some of that stuff. And I asked him about the playoff, and he it was funny. He likes the automatic qualifiers. He didn't like the play-in game. He's like, why do I want the number 6 team, give them a chance to beat the number 3 team and make it into the playoffs? And it's his last year. He's going to retire after this year, and CBS is going to replace him with Charles Davis. But I thought that was kind of interesting, where he wasn't really towing the company line. I'm like, it's because he's a TV guy,
Yeah.
and he's like, well, I'm not making any money. He's retiring anyway, but he didn't really like those playing games. I think they'd be fun, just more cool games, but I don't think that's like the way you really want to do it. But I feel like at this point, and I think Tony Petitti didn't go all in on, hey, we want the SEC to play 9 games, but I think it's pretty clear that that's where it is. And a lot of the coaches sort of talked about it, where if you have the 2 big conferences, they need to have something that's can be compared. And if you have one playing 8 conference games and one playing 9, then it's not going to work. So I feel like that's where you're going to have to go. Either they're going to do the qualifiers, or they're going to get.
I don't know if it's just me being obstinate. It might be. I'm pretty obstinate, but like I'm against at this point anything that makes college football more homogenous. So at this point, I'm like, no, the SEC should play 8. They should play 7. I don't care. They should play very few because I don't want it to be apples to apples comparisons because it's not. Like, and it won't be. Like, even if you make it all very similar, they're not going to play the same schedules. Like, it's different teams. So no, I don't think there should be this like pursuit of just purely homogenous you know, uh, college football across the board, and anything that makes like, okay, the playing field is level between these two big super conferences that are only going to grow more super. I mean, it was reported today that North Carolina is now pursuing, entry into the SEC. Um, there's too much of this stupid stuff happening, and I think anything that would prevent the further, and it's what we said last week, anything that would prevent the further consolidation of the sport and the further, making everything wrapped around these two big, you know, metastasized conferences is good. We want to stop that.
Yeah. So that was sort of like the beginning, but I just felt it was interesting that across the board there was a narrative that all the coaches kind of conveyed. I think Kirk Cignetti had a funny quip about, he's because they dropped, that Indiana dropped the Virginia game,
Yeah.
and he said it was like going with more of an SEC, model. Um, Yeah, it's so there was a couple shots back and forth,
But
but
that's the beauty of it. No, because you get stuff like that if it's non-homogenous. Like you get people taking shots at the SEC for scheduling, cupcakes and stuff. And even though it's like an unfair thing because, they're still playing very tough schedule most years, SEC schools, you won't have that if they play nine. You want Kurt Signetti taking shots at media day at like the general SEC. So I don't know.
yeah. But what overall, just looking around, it was interesting. I was here later on Tuesday, so on day one, I actually watched some of this from home before I flew out to Las Vegas, and then we like ended up doing a lot of work here and trying to catch people when we could, but try to catch it. I didn't get to watch a lot of the podium stuff until like today. I got to do like a little bit more of that, but just seeing like, oh, there's like Jed Fish walking around, or Barry Odom, the new coach at Purdue. A lot of like the local people from Las Vegas really interested in that because obviously he left UNLV and took a bunch of players, very Kirk Signetti like what he did with JMU. So like he was sort of a big topic of discussion. I know, with UCLA and Nico being here, a lot of the national media members were like leaving before he even got to speak at the podium. So there was some kind of chatter about that. But just seeing some of the different coaches, like Kirk Ferentz was like the Iowa guys were just two booths down from us, and there were some radio people, David, here on Radio Row, that was like very loud and very talking into their microphones, and it was like, oh, and but yeah, they're hearing like Kirk Ferentz talk and all that. Yeah, so it was, I don't know, it's kind of interesting. What was your kind of vibe of how this was all going?
It's definitely different. I mean, I don't know how inside baseball this gets for people who have never attended a media days, which means mostly all of you. But like the old Pac-12, like the way it was structured was you would have your interviews early, and then there would be a lunch, and at the lunch you got like however long you wanted to talk with whatever coach. They were all just situated at tables, and you could just kind of wander between the tables. You would first sit with probably your coach, like the coach who the team you cover. You'd eat lunch, and then they would sit there for like a full 2 hours, the coach and like a couple of players, and you would kind of circle and talk to whoever you wanted to. It was a great time to like listen to David Shaw pontificate about various things in the sport, and talk to Mike
Mike
Leach and
Leach,
all that kind
yeah.
of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And it was a ton of fun. This is very different. It's much more professionalized, much more structured. Like to find windows for us to talk to the UCLA players and coach, like they were booked solid from basically the minute they got here until essentially 5 p.m. We had to find like these short little windows down by the escalators to like fit them in. But I would say like the opportunity to talk to people was still, very highly there. It was just a lot more structured than it used to be.
Yeah.
I would say that's the main thing I would take away. But I mean, we ended up getting Deshaun for close to a full hour between all of the different opportunities to interview him. So I would say the access is there. It's just a lot more structured.
There was a lot of structure, and if you don't know, like, so it was like late morning, and they didn't get started. With Pac-12 media days, we'd be going like 8 in the morning, and you'd be, having to drive through traffic to get to Hollywood and Highland or whatever And what they did the last couple here, I think they did one or two in Vegas with
Yeah,
Kliavkoff or whatever,
I
but
think it was the last two.
maybe the last two. But there would just be an all day sort of thing, and this was like a much later start, which is interesting because even the UCLA stuff that was going on at like 4:30 p.m. I mean, it's like almost 8 o'clock at night on the East Coast if you're a Maryland fan or something watching. But you would get the head coach on the podium that was broadcast on Big Ten Network for 15 minutes earlier, and then there would be like a lunchtime, and then later in the afternoon there would be a window, I think a half an hour for the players. So whatever schools players, at least three of them would have their own little podiums, and they had a bunch of different podiums over there. And then the head coach would have, I think, 45 minutes or 30 minutes, something like that. And so there were, kind of scrums around those. And then, like David was saying, you'd have opportunities for individual one-on-ones. Yeah, just fought, like I was texting with the sports information department all day about like we got the players to come sit down with us, and that was cool. We had them kind of all at once, so we had Connor do a separate interview while Chris and I did a couple of players sitting here at this. But to get Riley, it was like they were just being dragged around everywhere, and I was like, okay, 5 minutes, and we brings over, we get like 8 minutes with them, but that's fine. We got to sit down and chat with them. But their schedule just looked ridiculous. And I don't know about UCLA.
Yeah,
USC flew in this morning and flew out. Like they didn't even stay here. And I guess that's the advantage of being 45-minute flight away. But I don't know if UCLA came last night, but
they came yesterday. Yeah,
they did come yesterday. Yeah.
yeah,
So USC just flew in and flew out. I don't know if anyone else did that, but their schedules were pretty crazy. But yes, obviously a lot of opportunity to talk to them and, you check out all the 247 sports sites, the team you follow in the Big Ten. We met a lot of the people that cover all those teams here. Get to see them in person if we haven't met them yet. Our buddy Jeremy that does the Illinois side, I went on a podcast with him. But check it out because there's a lot of us here and a lot of content going up for sure.
yeah, yeah. It was, I would say, we didn't do Radio Row because I'm not gonna sit here doing video podcasts all day like you. Have you been in there, or have you just been sitting here the whole day?
I've been here most of the day, especially because we were waiting for Riley, and we thought, oh, we're going to get him at 12 this or
Yeah.
whatever. And it was like, so a lot of it was in here. I didn't get to do as much in there, but we did I think this is like my fifth like recorded interview today, and did a couple
Or are you
um,
interviewing me?
or whatever, just like this is a show.
Is
We
this an
did we did
interview?
a live show last night too, so till before we went out. We have an interesting question from Meg. Ryan, where is David Woods?
I can't tell if that's serious or not.
I, someone commented he's on the left on the screen. Yes, he is, which is a little different. I'm normally on the left, but just had to set
Are
this
you
up.
really?
I think I normally set up that way, but just this was literally I put this together. I like downloaded the graphics that I had my email somewhere to create these shots and everything. So I just wanted to put something together for you guys while we're here
Yeah.
in
Yeah, in sunny
Las
Las Vegas.
Vegas.
I'd say so. Today was obviously it was our big day because we had USC and UCLA today. I would say UCLA, I think, was one of the like not big storylines here, but I would say it was one of the ones that people were most interested to see for two reasons. One, whether Deshaun Foster would be able to handle giving a prepared speech at the podium after his flub last year, and then two, Nico
Mm.
Iamaleava. I cannot pronounce his last name. I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna keep working at it.
Shouldn't you be able to do that?
It's so hard for me. I don't know. Iamaleava. Iamaleava.
I remember I had to study it when we were talking about it.
I've done it so many times, and I just still I mess it up. Anyway, I would say on both counts. So I would say Deshaun, clearly nervous again. Like
Was
clearly,
he nervous?
he seemed very nervous,
I
and
didn't get
he
to
was.
see, but I just read the tweets, and it
And
seemed like
it
he
seemed like he
crushed
was.
it.
Well, he did.
He did exactly what you said for him to do.
Yeah, he kind of joked about it, but actually, he did something that I thought was more interesting. Is that he leaned into it as like, no, I'm going to talk about it and talk about that as a, this is an area where I've grown. And he repeated that a few times when we talked to him later. Like, look, I've gotten better at this stuff. Like, I've improved. And I thought that was a really good approach because he's not like a jokey guy. And so, approaching it with sincerity, I thought was actually a really good move for him. But he did like lightly hit himself about it. But it was more about like, okay, we're all growing, the players and coaches and myself. And I thought that was a good approach. It was still a prepared speech. I think he did fine. And that's the benchmark. Like, you don't need to be Mike Leach up there. You don't need to be David Shaw. You can just be fine. And most of the coaches were fine. Like, nobody was like, Kurt Signetti's, he's pretty good. Like, he's pretty fun to listen to. But most of them were kind of boring. And Deshaun was kind of boring. And that's exactly what you need to be. You need
Yeah.
to be kind of boring and say all the right things. And he did. I thought he was totally fine. And then I thought in his breakout sessions, he looked much more comfortable in his own skin than he was last year. Like he was, I thought, friendly, engaging, expansive. Like when the question required, a long answer, he gave a long answer. So I thought it was to his point, I think he's grown in those areas, like the media relations area. So I thought that was kind of a big one for him. And then as for Nico, this was the first opportunity really anyone had to talk to him about Tennessee, the reasons for his departure.
Yeah, he's tall.
He's very tall, very tall, very tall man. And I thought he handled it pretty well. He basically kept leaning on, and I think this is probably the prepared side of things. He kept leaning on family and coming back home, coming back to family. That was my priority the whole way. Yada yada yada. And sort of addressed like, I think people are saying some things about me that aren't true. But I thought he also said some nice things about Tennessee fans. I don't think it's going to do anything to calm down Tennessee fans who are still pissed about what happened. But he was like, that they've got one of the best fan bases. I loved my time there. I'm Joey Aguilar, who was the transfer who came into UCLA this spring and then left when Nico committed. He ended up at Tennessee, and he said, "Well, I think Joey's going to have a great time there because he's going to be playing in front of some of the best fans in the world." And so like that, there's nice things he said that are
Yeah,
not going to in any way help him with that constituency, but I thought he did about as well as he could have. Just talking about all that different stuff. He's very soft spoken, very soft
yeah.
spoken. Yeah,
It's funny. USC's quarterback Jade Maiava is kind of soft spoken too. So sometimes you just want like not a soft spoken quarterback. You want someone that's just out there like just taking over. Like he's the guy that's going to grab the mic at the karaoke night and all that. But yeah, Nico's a little quiet.
yeah, very quiet. But yeah, I mean, there wasn't too much else from UCLA's stuff that I thought was interesting. But I think there was a big crowd around Nico when he went up to his,
Yeah,
kind of side thing. I think there was a lot of, people watching who weren't otherwise watching when Deshaun walked up there to see what's this going to be, what's going to happen. So I think UCLA, they handled it pretty well, and I think they, will rock a few headlines from this.
Buddy Matthews says Landing's also a stud
Yeah, very
on
much so.
camera. So yeah, that's intense but fun to listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he did a nice job in there. I mean,
Yeah, but like
you
Ryan Day's boring. Sharon Moore's fine.
yeah, Sharon Moore was out.
James Franklin's like intense, but I don't know, not very interesting to me. Um, yeah, most of them are boring.
Yeah, Jonathan Smith got a little bit of that, and he didn't even like fill the 15 minutes. Like there wasn't that many questions for him. I'm there are we've talked to people that were in the media that were like used to driving to this thing, no matter where and so I'm curious if some media members didn't come because it was a little further away or anything like that. But yeah, it's there was a lot. There was a
But you know
lot.
who came this year that didn't come last year?
Us,
Us. That's right.
yes.
You get us if you hold it
Um,
in Vegas.
That's true. If you're going to do anything in Vegas, and it was kind of crappy that Tony Petiti was like asked about it, and it was sort of like a logistical thing. Like stuff. I was like, no, you should have said we just wanted to have it in Vegas. But yeah, we'll see if they can continue to do that. I mean, obviously, it's a great trip, and people like coming here. And for us, it's way easier, which we love it so much. We love the way easier stuff. On the USC side, I can kind of give some insights there for they didn't bring Jaden Mayava, but Makai Lemon is a really good receiver,
Yeah,
but
why would you bring your starting quarterback here?
it's kind of it's interesting. And Lincoln Riley told us when he sat down here that he's the starter for sure, so there wasn't a question there. But like Makai Lemon, kind of also like a soft spoken kid, but I thought he did a nice job. Like he's not always like the best in interviews. So when they brought him, I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. But I thought he did a nice job. Elijah Page was a lot of fun. He started talking about fishing and golf, and I'm like, I'm in. But big offensive tackle for USC, and then Kamari Ramsey, the former UCLA Bruin, just really is polished and just excellent football player. Does a great job at the podium. Does a great job in interviews and stuff. So it was fun talking to all those guys, and Lincoln Riley did a pretty good job. There was a lot of talk about the Notre Dame game. And that kind of comes back to, I mean, he had an interesting story where he said like the reason, he was a college football fan before he even played. And, the reason when you're at Oklahoma, the first thing he thought about was you get to play Texas. And he said the same thing when I was at USC. Sorry, David, but he said the first thing you think about is playing Notre Dame. And so I think he said the right things about how important the rivalry is, but also was like, hey, this is a new world. Like college football has changed a lot, and you got to do what's right. And the feeling I get is that it's more of pushing the Big Ten narrative of getting these automatic qualifiers because they essentially said like, yeah, if you have automatic qualifiers, you're going to schedule Notre Dame no matter what. But if not, maybe
Actually,
we won't. I think
I
that's in
take it more as he's ducking because he's scared,
yeah. Well, he said a lot of good things about the rivalry.
right?
Um, I don't think he's not going to duck UCLA. I think he's ready to
You think
defend the
so?
Bruins. But so yeah, talk about that a little bit. And he sat with us and Jade Mayava going forward. It was funny. He was one of the advocates for getting Mike Leach into Hall of Fame, who was, I forget, it was like 60%. You need to win like a certain percentage of games, and Leach was like a decimal point off or whatever. And I think they got that changed. And he also brought up Pete Carroll, which I didn't know that was going to happen. Um, who's only coached 9 years, and you need 10, so they might tweak that. So we'll see. But that was one of the things he kind of brought up early. But yeah, I thought they did a good job. Was anything else kind of stand out to you from? It was tough because like when you're doing your work, it's like you don't get to. I felt like with the Pac-12 one, there was just so quick. You just soaked everything in.
Kirk Ferentz had some funny things to say about social media. I don't think he was intending to be funny, but he sounded so old talking about social media. He said he was asked like, "What's the importance of social media in recruiting?" Which I thought was an interesting question because that's a question that should have been asked like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like it's social media now, sure, but it's not like it's like your graphic game more than anything. But anyway, Ferentz, I think his exact quote was something to the tune of, "I don't even know where to find that." Like speaking of broad social media, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Where,
do you think he has a
pull up
phone?
social media. Like,
Yeah, no,
hey, social media, where are you?
yeah. Like, does he have a phone that's not attached to a cord? Like, what do you think? Um,
Someone does for him.
yeah, but I thought he was pretty good. No, I mean, not too many because I mean, I was running around doing a bunch of different stuff when a lot of these guys were talking. So no other major takeaways from today. Did you have anything from the
Uh,
previous couple of days?
well, Brian has a question. Did you guys see Chip Kelly around? We
No,
did not.
no.
That's one of the but it is weird because you're used to a certain. There's just a certain feel about coming to these, whether it be like the teams. There's media members, there's national people. There's
Hmm.
national people. There's more national people here than there would be at Pac-12 usually, but there's like, oh, if there was an Arizona beat writer, like a Michael Lev or someone, like I would normally see, where's he? Oh, he's not here
He
because
doesn't cover this.
he does.
Yeah,
He's not part of this, or like what the Colorado? No, like there's not. So some of that stuff, and then
yeah. We have to learn a whole new set of 247 people. You know.
yeah, and like meeting some of them, and you're like, wait, you're with Wisconsin, or you cover
Yeah,
Michigan State, and so yeah, was it Nick? Yeah, Nick's a funny guy. He's on our Wisconsin site, and yeah, we had a good time. I mean, there was a bunch of really nice people, but the feel of it just is different because you're like, wait, there's someone walking by from Northwestern. Like what? Like, oh yeah, okay, that's part of the conference
yeah,
where we're in now. There was a lot of Purdue. We had got a lot of Iowa down there. The Minnesota radio people were right next to us. So that's just like you get some different feels across the board.
yeah, yeah. It definitely is different, and like I don't know. It seems like the coaches. I won't say they lack star power, but like it does seem like there's like a dearth of I don't know, very interesting speakers among the bunch of them.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. It's a media event.
I don't have my soundboard here, but cha-ching, Matthew gave us $5 super chat. Um, my Iowa student
Thank you,
brother,
Matthew.
yeah, my Iowa student brother and I have had fully serious conversations on whether or not Kirk. So I can't even read this.
Kirk has internet at his house.
Oh, okay, sorry, it just ended on this part.
Yeah,
It's very small. I'm like on a much smaller screen here and stuff. Does he have internet at his house?
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Perfect. I love that. It was funny. So we were about to interview Jay Hilbrand, who's the deputy athletic director at USC and their chief of staff. And like while he's walking over here, the news breaks about the Trump executive order, and that's Meg wants the thoughts on that Trump executive order for college football. I got to hear like no, I know Andy Staples and Ari Wasserman pretty well. They were a couple booths down. You could hear them talking about it. A lot of people were just commenting on it. And then, Jay comes over and we're just like, this is a weird, like you're trying to navigate all these rules as an athletic director and they're changing every day. And like some judge in Tennessee says something or some congressman in another state says something or the president writes something up and you're like, how are you supposed to follow like what all these rules are?
Yep.
It's kind of insane. But did you have any, I I got to read a little bit of it, but any thoughts on it? Just seems kind of silly.
No, there seems like there's so much stuff changing because you've got Trump doing that thing, the executive order, which I have no idea how enforceable any of that is. Who knows? But then you have like the guidance changing like significantly just this week, where basically NIL collectives can now be used as essentially the same thing as a business that's paying a player, and they have the same, so essentially NIL is not going away in any real capacity. And
Yes.
then you have Trump saying this that it's you can't actually.
Yeah. Third parties, like,
I don't even know what that means.
yeah.
So anyway, it all seems very silly. It doesn't seem like we're coming to a good place or a good solution on any of it. Um, my feeling heading into literally Trump having done that was that we were going to be fully in the Wild West in perpetuity. I don't know how much of a kink that puts in the plans. I have There's really no way of knowing. I think we'll have to see if it has any teeth if anybody follows this rule.
Yeah, because the CSC were trying to you know, stop some of these, like, hey, you can't say this collective is paying a player because they're doing some events or whatever. And the House lawyers were like, no, that's not what we meant at all. And then that came back, and then there was a memo that came out from the CSC that this is what you can't do, and then the House lawyers were like, no, 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 and then we got that this week that there's okay. So basically, like, all right, so collectives can still pay players. And like my
Well,
understanding, David, was that schools have raised a bunch of money, and if you can pay people out of your $20.5 million rev share, and there's no questions asked. So if I wanted
yeah,
to pay David Woods $1 million because he shaved his beard, you could do that.
yeah,
But if it was going to come out of the collective, it's almost the feeling I got from talking to people that have to do this were like, it's like watching Breaking Bad, where they needed to like launder all this money. They got to launder it somehow. So they bought the car wash and all that kind of stuff. It's like, you have to, okay, we want to pay David Woods $1 million, but we have to have him do things, or he has to, like, there has to be something associated with it. So it's almost like figuring out ways to legally pay you so it wouldn't get dinged. And having the collectives be able to be businesses that are allowed to pay players is that just, to me, it's just going to open up more stuff where you thought you were going to have some kind of salary cap, but really, if Texas Tech wants to spend double the salary cap, they're going to be able to.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think the reality was as soon as they allowed pay for play, with kind of no governance, you were never they're never putting that, Pandora's box doesn't shut now. I
No.
mean, that thing's out. And I think the most you can do is massage around the corners of it and maybe, say, but even that, I don't know that's possible. Like you're putting limitations on somebody's compensation, without any collective bargaining, without any of the like trappings of employment. I don't see it ever standing up to a legal challenge. That's the thing. I mean, as soon as the CSC says no, you can't do that, they're going to get sued, and as soon as they get sued, the whole thing comes crashing down again because they're not going to win. So this Trump thing is the one thing where I'm like, I don't know. Maybe that has an impact because our country is essentially an elected monarchy, so the president's executive orders can have some impact. But whether it does, I don't know. I mean, it's going to depend on like I haven't read the exact executive order. Like, I don't know what's said in it, but yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of uncertainty right now. I think talking to Deshaun today, talking to a UCLA basketball coach, Mick Cronin, earlier this week. I think those guys don't have any idea what's coming, how it's
Yeah.
going to work, anything at all. I think the whole college sports landscape is in complete WTF mode, as far as understanding any of this and what's going to happen. And I think it's just you got to be flexible and nimble with
Very much so. Yeah.
whatever's going to happen. But no, it's a mess. Yeah, I'm all for players getting paid, but they need to have some sort of regulation. They need to have some sort of structure, and that structure is employment. Like that's just
Like
the
a
obvious
collective bargaining system.
answer here, so that they can then unionize and do a CBA, and then maybe you can get the same carve outs that they get for the professional leagues as far as like drafts and all that kind of stuff, and maybe you can figure out some way to model that around recruiting. I don't know, but the end result of this is going to be it has to be employment. Otherwise, you're just going to. I mean, so there's going to be a drain of coaches leaving the sport because it's going to just be such a mess every single year trying to retain your own team, build a new team, the whole thing. It's a incredibly challenging time for roster building.
Yeah, I mean, even administrators, like, you know, we were talking to Jay today, you know, and they didn't have this, you know, the house settlement like settled. It was like less than a month before it was supposed to go live, and like all these budgets and all that stuff takes a long time. You had to like really
Yeah,
plan for things. So like to your point, you have to have vision and you have to be nimble. Like literally the time he walked over here, something changed. Like an executive order from the president of the United States said, you know, third parties can't pay players. And you're like, what? Like, so you got to figure something out. And it is funny because it's like, it's sort of like a game that everyone's played for so long. And then all of a sudden the rules changed and you have 136 or whatever D1 teams, FBS teams. And I think every athletic director just didn't know what to do. And some acted a certain way, others acted different ways. I think we saw the same thing when NIL came into, you know, some schools were super conservative about it, and other was like all in. And you saw everyone kind of act differently. And then, you know, what's their vision and what's the, you know, political landscape at the campus that you're at, and how helpful will the university be? Some of the athletic department stuff that they get charged by the university just seems like it doesn't make any sense. Like, you know, if you're a fan of Texas football or something, and you assume, yeah, you get a scholarship to a football player, it's just free because you're already at Texas. It's like, no, the athletic department like pays the unit. Like in most schools, I think they pay the university for that, and I think a lot of that is changing too. Like there's a lot of benefits the university gets from having a good athletic department, and so I think it's just the whole landscape's changed. The way they've done things forever, it's just. And so you're seeing it's interesting to me that instead of everyone following like the same rules they've done for 100 years, they're all like looking at it differently and trying to figure out their own path and doing some really different things, even though they're probably in very similar situations.
yeah, no, 100%.
Let's see. Matthew says, you know, you're a Big Ten fan. If you can recognize these people.
He was talking about Ohio State beat writers in the background
Oh, they were walking
walking
by.
behind me.
Yes. Okay. I saw that part. Yeah, there's a lot of different media here. Did you get to talk to? You're not yeah, I'm more social than you are, but
I'm very social.
who did anyone you saw like you haven't seen for a while? Like, you
No.
know, I haven't talked to like Andy Staples for a while. That was cool. I didn't see.
Oh, no, no, sorry. I'm not a media. I'm going to put this earmuffs, Griffin. I'm not a, national media starfucker. Like
Mm,
somebody I'm looking directly at right now.
okay, just because I'm friends with these
Uh huh.
people,
Uh huh.
I don't
Uh huh.
like.
Starfucker.
I don't know what it means even, but sure. I don't Griffin it. Let me know what that means.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean it was good to catch up with a bunch of the 247 people.
Yeah, that was cool. Seeing for the crew um, there, but yeah, there's a lot of people here. I mean, I saw Pat Forty. I didn't see Stuart Mandel. We normally do. I don't, there's, but yeah, a lot of people here. I did see John Wilner,
Hmm.
our who's around. I
Our
didn't
friend
see
John.
Canzano. Did you see?
I didn't see Canzano.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was. I mean, and all of our friends from the Pac-12 network were here.
Yes, it
Who are
was
now
good to
Big
see
Ten network.
Yogi and Jim Thornby. Like it was cool
Yeah,
to see him.
Jim was good, and Ashley Adamson here. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was good.
a lot of fun people. Anything else you wanna? Are we like? Do we have questions? Or,
We might have some questions. We could probably get into some of those. I think there were some in the chat, or
I
were you getting those as we were
I didn't
going?
really. There wasn't really much, but
Okay,
I
hang
like
on.
I put them up as we went.
Let me get into our
I'll
email.
look to see if there's a.
Oh, Google signed me out of all my stuff.
Here I can pull up.
Hang on, I gotta put in our password.
Kevin says Survivor. You both are cast on Survivor with the Big Ten head coaches. Who gets voted off first and who wins it all?
With the Big Ten head coaches.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know them as well. Like it's like Pac-12, we could do this, you know, in our sleep. I'm curious, like who would?
Survivor.
I think I would do pretty well in Survivor.
So I've never watched the show.
Okay.
It's not just being like a survivalist. It's also like team
No,
building and like dealing with like the machinations. Like you've got to be friendly enough that people don't hate you, but also a little Machiavellian, so you're planning things the whole way through.
yes, stabbing
Okay.
in the back and like the whole, like,
I think Dan Lanning might be the guy.
but he might be like he could have a target on his back from day one.
Oh, because he's too much of a like
Yes, like
he's too like out there.
if you're like the guy that wins, like some of these things, you don't want to win every competition because maybe that was more Big Brother. But like if you're like if you're, you know, athletic guy or woman or whatever, and you come in and you can like do all the competitions well, then you're a threat. I think Dan Lanning might. I think he would do well, but he would just be targeted. Like you know, um,
Ferentz is too old.
yeah,
I don't
he
see
might be one of
somebody.
the first
Yeah.
ones out. Yeah,
Um, Maybe like an unassuming Jonathan Smith. What do you think?
I was thinking him was going to be more like in one of the first out. I would think.
Who do you think would win?
Like James Franklin, I think would do. I think he would do enough. I think he could have a good run in there. I don't think Lincoln Riley would do very well. Like it's
Yeah.
just like there's tribes and stuff, and you have to like get along with the people in your tribe and all that
Are you
kind of stuff.
saying Lincoln Riley has trouble getting along?
I'm just saying, I'm not sure that would suit him.
You're not sure that's one of his strengths is playing
Uh,
nicely with others?
Deshaun Foster might.
I think Deshaun would actually be pretty good at
I
it.
think he would do pretty well. Um, yeah, Lanning, I don't know. Like I mean, his tribe would do like
What about Bert?
Bielema.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could be all right. I mean, he could do some he could do some damage, I think.
Yeah.
Loxley, I don't know.
Shiano.
Shiano would do like yeah, he could he's sort of like the Kyle
P
Winningham guy.
PJ.
Uh
PJ Fleck.
no, he's out like fairly early. Fleck's not gonna last that long. All right, well thanks for that one, Kevin.
Yeah, it was a good one. All right, I'm in the email now. Well, I was. Where is it?
We don't have much, I think. There's like
Okay, so that was Kevin, and then we had a suggestion on the show format, but
yeah.
we talked about that offline.
Oxenhart Steve has some
Oh, he had some nice things to say. The POC is back. Some rapid fire thoughts. Highly recommend riding a bicycle down from the top of Haleakala. It's all downhill from 10,000 feet to the beach. Regarding boring single letter logos, couldn't Northwestern be just a compass arrow pointing up and to the left? I will second John and Brea's sentiments regarding the mental health of our POC hosts and it being okay to gloss over games that no one cares about. I agree with David's suggestion of not covering meaningless non-conference game. Well, that's a double negative, non-non. So the equivalent statement would be I agree with covering meaningless conference games. Oh, now I'm confused. Yay, Danny, for saying what we all are thinking. Keep on with the POC. Once a week comedy shows are great. Who cares about football? That is just the vehicle. Oxnard, Steve. Thank you, Steve.
all right. So basically, are we like the French fries that you're just to get to the ketchup? Like that's
Yeah, that's
we're
right, baby.
okay. So
Yeah,
that's the
yeah,
analogy.
we are the
Is that right?
vehicle for ketchup.
Okay.
I mean, there are some other emails in here.
Oh, is this one?
There's a couple of emails from Frank in Sacramento.
Is this one from Alex? Good to hear you again. Is that a
I
new one?
think so. Yeah, everything from Gale Graph up is new.
Hello, Ryan and David. Thanks for the new episode this week. Looks like, despite the demise of the Conference of Champions, or the fact that you guys seem to know very little about the Big Ten, aside from what the school logos look like, just like a cockroach that refuses to die, this podcast will continue to go nowhere, both literally and figuratively. While I appreciate the quote redesign of the podcast logo, slapping on that Big Ten at the bottom really does a great job of driving home the point of how little you actually care. I want, hey, that's a cool logo. I want to offer you an alternative for this new season. Please see the attached version. I hope that you like it and use it. It took me like a whole 5 minutes to slap this together, thanks to AI. All the best and fight on, Alex. I can let me see if I can add this to her.
No,
I'll do that. Yeah.
no,
You don't. You know. I
we're
should.
not supporting AI artwork.
We're not.
No, we're.
I can't put it on the screen to show them.
I mean, you can put it on the screen, but we're
Okay,
not
I'm gonna
making
put it
that
on
the
the screen.
logo.
All right.
Sorry, Alex.
We're not okay. Well, I'm gonna put it on the screen just where it is.
All right, what else? We got some Gale Graph stuff. These are no, it's Frank and Sacramento. Anyway, Minnesota knowledge dump. We all know Lou Holtz is crazy, but he also actually coached at. What am I looking at?
I'm showing
Oh,
it to Logan.
jeez. Yeah,
It's
your
covering your
point.
face.
God, I can't see stuff.
It's covering your face.
But he also actually coached at Minnesota. He guided the Gophers to a 10-12 record in 1984 and 1985. He was fired at Arkansas in the early 1980s for political activities, including filming political advertisements from his office in support of Jesse Helms. He redesigned the Minnesota Golden Gopher logo to be more mean and scary. I know you don't love visuals, so I send the before and after logos in a separate email.
Oh,
So he sent us again more images.
so I got to do more work. Okay.
Yeah, you do those from our friend Frank in Sacramento,
Keep
while I
talking.
read Matt's email.
Okay.
Take a cue from college scheduling for your podcast. Since it appears college football is taking the easy route with their schedule, why don't you take a cue for the podcast? To start the season, your schedule is tough and you break down each Big Ten team's games. Beginning week 1, you dub the Mr. Irrelevant game, and for the remainder of the season, that team will no longer be covered by your podcast. There is the caveat that UCLA and USC will never be dubbed the Mr. Irrelevant game because, well, screw the rest of the conference. We want to hear about our team. A month into the season, and you never have to mention Maryland, Rutgers, Minnesota, and Northwestern. On a side note, all of them are the lame one-letter identifiers Dave pointed out in the last show. You don't have to cover when Ohio State hosts Rutgers later in the season, or whatever 66-3 game loss these teams are involved in. By the end of the year, the majority of the teams are history, and it opens up time for Dave to opine on U.S. history that is as obscure as someone naming famous Rutgers athletes. Besides, does anyone really care about teams outside of UCLA and USC? In a world where it seems everyone hates everyone with a differing opinion, we can all agree this podcast is worth the listen. All the best, Ryan. My name isn't Best. I'm simply wishing you both the best.
Oh,
Man.
thanks, Best.
Thank you, Best.
Nice. Mark wants to know, why is triple double in UCLA gear? No, he's wearing a red polo. He's wearing the same red polo I'm wearing. Like, we only have so many 247 photos.
Mm.
Polos, I mean.
Who's triple double?
Triple double is Connor Morissette.
Because he's got triple double letters.
Yes,
I get
very
it.
good, David.
I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I like that.
That was the triple double. Who came up with the nickname? I don't know if he's not listening, but I forget what. Like early on when I hired Connor, like 2 years ago, and we were at Notre Dame walking around, and he brought his family, like his family wanted to see, and so his mom was like with him on the Notre Dame campus, and someone yells, "Hey, triple double!" and his mom went crazy, just thought like, "Wow, my son's like famous and stuff."
Uh-huh.
So it was funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, is that it?
I think that's all we got. I put up those images. Yeah, they're. You look at the images, right? Like you got the old.
Yeah.
It looks like a squirrel, like the
Mhm.
gopher. It's less gophery, more squirrel, and then it's a mean one. It's I don't know, mean. He just looks buff. He's like in the Letterman sweater. So yeah, I like the new one way better.
Yeah.
It's cool stuff. Um, yeah. Well, that's good. We appreciate the sending the questions and stuff, and we'll be back regular schedule.
Yeah, maybe with a little bit more energy next time. I think we're both beat to hell right now.
It's yeah, and now we got to go do Vegas one last night.
Yeah, we sure do.
When is your flight tomorrow?
Noon.
Okay, mine's like 9ish or something,
Oof.
or 9:30.
Are you just staying up for it?
You'll probably try to get me to, but
No, I'm not doing that. There's no way I could do that.
I was
He
telling you
said
like last night. I was like,
famously.
last night I wasn't going to go heavy, but it was a little heavier than I thought.
It was a wee bit heavier than I thought too.
It was 1:30 in the morning. Those old fashions were like legit.
Those were good, and then just like guzzling vodka tonics at the video poker machine was not
Yeah,
not the way to nightcap that one.
I was so lucky that USC played twice here in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Um,
But I did appreciate our very bold and very strong drunk decision to buy caramellos on our way up
that
to
was
our
so good.
respective
Those
rooms.
are so good. I haven't had a caramello in like quite a while.
Those were money.
Those are definitely money. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap things up from us. We are now the last people on Radio Row. Uh, I'm glad they didn't like start folding the tables up. If you were watching, I don't know how. Hopefully you don't hear it, but there was a lot of stuff in the background and everything, like people packing up and everything. But we're done. We're done now. For David Woods, I am Ryan Abraham. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Oh, we should do a screenshot. What do you want to do?
I know. You pick.
Just do a thumbs up or something. And we will talk to you next time.
Bye.